Alright, so I am making this video. Actually, I guess it can be for my YouTube channel, but it's really actually for my brother Eric. Uh, as I'm giving him some of my older reloading stuff, I'm just going to kind of, or things that I have extra of, however you want to put it. I'm going to reload some 30-06 for my M1 Garand today. But I just want to give him the basics of how to reload, something that he can reference while he's at home with the stuff that I give him. So we're not going to be using all my higher end stuff today. We're going to be using a basic single stage press. It's actually a really old one. It's a RCBS RS2 I got at a estate sale a long time ago. And so this is really just for him so he can go through the motions of learning how to reload. So we're going to go over some basic tools and where I get my load data from, where I start it from, how I document it, so on and so forth. So let's get started. So obviously you need some dies. You need your reloading information. You need a decent set of tools. So these are Mitutoyo digital calipers, so they work really good. This is a Hornady universal reloading block. Shut off. Turn it back on. Or maybe my battery. There it goes. A basic digital scale for weighing out your powder charges. We're just going to use some 168 grain boat tail hollow points. This is a bullet comparator, a lock and load bullet comparator, and a lock and load headspace comparator. So we'll use the headspace comparator first to help set up how much shoulder bump. Being a 30-06 being a gas gun, we're going to go with 3,000s. If you're doing a precision rifle like a bolt action, maybe 2,000s is all you need. Obviously some cleaned up 30-06 brass. And let's get started. So let's just do, just to show you, so we're not going too crazy repetitive, but we'll do five rounds. One tool I really like, that's a cedar die, I'm pretty sure. So this one's actually really old, but this is a Wilson case gauge. They're just kind of really nice for, where am I at on my shoulder bump. And these, I think, they're a little tiny bit of an investment, but I think they're worth it personally. If you want to see if your stuff, well, these ones actually, it looks like I resized them. You find some that I didn't. But if you want to know if you didn't label your jar or something, but if it sits down in there flush like so, and there's a little bit of a bump in there, as you can see, if that's smooth across here, then you know it's been resized. And that if it's smooth across here, this almost needs to be trimmed, but not quite. So it's a very handy tool. They're like 30-40 bucks or something. Ain't like I'd have to ever buy it once, so I recommend it. I think they make some out of brass now too. Here for certain. Here's another 30-06. This is just a nail bucket. 2, 3, 4. Just pick 5 out of there. So let me see where is the. So I have a toolbox just sitting next to me. This is a decapping die. It's made by Lee, not Lee Wilson, just Lee. Oops. And so you can see here it says Lee decapping die. And so you just have a piece that you tighten on there. This is your decapping pin. Now they're kind of on the large side, so you just screw this down. Square you up there. You just screw it down like so. Your pin will protrude out the bottom there. Oh, I don't remember what this is for. Valkyrie. Yeah. Set this aside for a second. So you're gonna need a shell holder. You have to get one that's for the 30-06 bolt face. It's definitely not that one. I don't know which number I need. Maybe I threw it in the 30-06 container last time I used it. No, there isn't. Dang it. So you can see, not always the number one most prepared, I guess. Pretty sure it's a number 11, which I think is right here, actually. Well, that's the one we're going to use anyways. Alright. So you just pop it in here like so. Whew, that one's got a hell of a ding in it. So that will push out your primer. You'll have a little mini piece of the primer that comes out. Eric, yours already has a tray built into it, so you won't have to get one of these out. But So if you know anything about an M1 Garand, they are not brass friendly, so all these necks and stuff are going to be kind of on the beat up side of things. Now, we'd usually tumble this brass, but we're just going to use a degreaser, Sullivan. We're going to spray them down, wipe them up on the outside, like so. Give them kind of a clean, and it'll be good enough for what we're doing here. Some guys don't even clean their brass at all. So, you know, do we need the primer pockets cleaned and all that stuff? No, you don't. Unless you got some really old range brass or something like that. Pretty sure this is this is some old Greek brass that I had. For a 30-06, so I thought that's kind of cool. Okay, so we got that stuff decapped, so now we can put this away. You can resize and decap too, but I know a lot of times, see, these have a little heavier, this die has a pretty heavy decapping pin, so I've never bent and broke one. I do have a spare one that I bought when I initially bought the thing, but I haven't had any trouble. So, but I do put it back in its container, and then I stick it back in my drawer with the rest of the goodies. So the next thing that we need to do is set up our full length sizing die. So one's a cedar. This is your cedar die. You really can't see crap in there. Let me grab a flashlight. It works too. Well, I bring my kids down here a lot with me, and they tend to. What kid doesn't like a flashlight, right? So you can see. There we go. This one has like just a seating stem in there. It doesn't have like a pin or anything else. That's how you know that one's a cedar die. And this one, you can see like that ball in there, that's an expander ball. That's how you know it's a sizing die. So that's the one we need. I think this one's really cool just because this belonged to an older gentleman before my time. So his notes are still in there and stuff, and I'm going to leave those notes in there forever just because I think it's really cool. You need some case lube. I just use Hornady one-shot case lube. You're going to hear my son in there. He's having a little bit of a rough time at the moment. So you just shake this up for like a minute. You know, it's just like if you're shaking a paint can or something. And so you gotta get in, so see the necks? You gotta get inside there, turn, this stuff flashes off. Some guys have like or gals have shouldn't say guys in general like that, but they have like a lanolin mix or some other kind of special sauce that they've created, or maybe a relative passed down to them or something. I don't do any of that stuff. It doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with with it, but that's just how that works. So when you let your ram go all the way down, and then you turn so they're going to teach you to turn your die until it hits. Is that too big? That's probably too big, is it? No. Until it hits the shell holder, and they'll do like, hey, do this cam over thing, and you kind of see how it pushes down and goes over. And they would say that's how you'd want to set this up. It's probably going to do a lot more than a couple thou doing that. So you have to be careful with that, because if you do it 100% that way, you can oversize your brass and get case head separations, which is bad juju for the chamber. If you're shooting a gas gun, you might have some real bad things happen with those, depending on the quality of it and everything. So just be real mindful of that kind of stuff. I don't really want to see you get hurt. So on the back side of here, it's going to have a list of like shoulder cases. So we need C, 0.375 for a 30-06. If your case isn't listed in here, but you know the shoulder is the same as another case because you got some kind of Wildcat or something like that going, use that one that would have the corresponding same shoulder angle on it. That's getting into the weeds too much. That's not really the scope of what we're trying to accomplish here. So you pick the 375. It's got a little set screw. You just stick that in there like so. You can buy really nice setups depending on the accuracy that you need from like Short Action Customs and some other guys outfits out there. So, but this actually seems to work just fine for me. Now the F-class guys, the ones that are shooting extreme accuracy, are shooting for extreme accuracy, those people are on a whole different level, and so their needs are going to be different than what ours is. So depending on who you talk to and how they tell you to set this up, it might vary a bit. So you just get that in there set up like so. It's going to read a digital number, and you just zero out on that. Okay. So you see how it says 0? You take one of your cases, you stick that in here. And then it'll show a reading, right? And just hit 0 on that. So it says 0 on this. So now you got where you're going there. And you can stick that guy up in there. There you go. Oh, well, that's not the right shell holder. Son of a puppy. And this is why you gotta double check. Make sure you stick the right one in. Oh, crap, we might have to use my stuck case remover. So, hopefully I don't need to use this dang thing. Maybe I can just cheat it out of there. Mamma mia. Well, Eric, I'm teaching you what not to do right off the bat. So that's the first time I've ever done that. So that was smart. What the heck did I misplace? the shell holder? It might have. Digging through my box of goodies here. Oh, son of a gun. Get back. Well, nothing like making some mistakes right off the bat. You know, I'm not impervious to them, obviously. Oh, yeah, there it is, too. Mamma mia. Get it on there, push it on like so. Push her up like that, and there we go. So, not an ideal way of doing things, but if you make a mistake like that and something happens, so while it's shoved up in the die, I turned it to where I could push this on like that and slide it into the tool holder just like that. So it's not the end of the world if you make mistakes, okay? Don't panic. So if you have a problem with the shell holder or what have you. So I didn't move it but 0.0065. So what needs to happen is I need to loosen this back up because that's not enough, okay? And so turn your tool head just a little bit, retighten it, okay? And then you can run it back up in there. .0030. So the other thing you can do too is if you're a little nervous about the whole thing, you can see that it's still protruding above on that guy a little bit. So that's how you know, well, I haven't moved the shoulder enough yet to get me to where I need to be. So, you know, you can set this up a couple different times, do about, you know, they're very coarse threads, so quarter at a time or whatever you feel comfortable with. That looks like that was 4 thousandths right there. It's probably just a little bit more than what we needed. So do a little loosen. And retighten. So there's a little bit of a process to setting that up. So now it's retightened. You know, right is down means more shoulder bump. The other way is, you know, less. So left is. So that one had a big ding in the neck like that, and as you can see, it is now perfectly round. So that's what resizing does. That's about 3 thou right there. So yeah, it's 4 thou. So a little over. Yeah. So 3 thousandths bump. That's all you need. Doesn't have to be crazy. Oh, that was a good one. If you're nervous about any part of the process, check every single one. There you go. So that's the resizing part of it. If you want, you take your case gauge, you know, the one for the specific caliber you're using. You can check it. Am I good? Yep, I'm good. Really on the border of needing to be trimmed. So you're all done with that now. So now you just have to take the tool head off. Yeah, I got that on there too tight. So loosen this guy, your lock ring up a little bit. Now you should be able to tighten her down. It'll be close to where you need it next time. There's your sizing die. Now you're gonna switch over to your cedar die. So one thing you can do is take out the seating stem, and you have to, you know, check it with to make sure that your bullet will actually go in there for you. So now I know this one will work, so we ain't got nothing to worry about that way. Just double check and make sure there ain't no gunk down there. But this adjustment down here, this is a a finer adjustment, you do your coarse adjusting with the primary die in the press itself. And so the next thing that we're going to do is use our load data, and there's an appendix in here that you can find your 30-06 Springfield, page 523 for M1 Grand. So I like the Hornady book. It seems to work really good. So there's 168 grain boat tail hollow point. That's the one we're shooting right there. And I do have Vihtavuori N135, and I have some Varget. I have IMR 4895. I don't have any BLC2, but let's use some Vihtavuori N135. Let's see here. Here we go. I've had this for a long time, but here is some Vihtavuori N135. Dang, I can't get that. Yeah, you just take my word for it. Yeah, it's just really not coming out. So now, probably like one of the easiest things to do. There's the shell holder I was looking for. Is to I have this little ceramic bowl. You want to make sure it's nice and clean. There ain't no residue from anything else in there, so you get it nice and clean. I got this at Walmart it's a Cornell one. Pretty cheap. You take some of your powder. Now only have one powder on your desk or your workstation at a time, and the reason is you don't want to actually confuse it. Think you're loading N135 and you use H1000 or something for a Magnum and have something really bad happen to you. And so I just sent that over there. I got a little bit of that in front of me. And so, I mean, I'm not looking to shoot this baby into outer space, so I want to go with a pretty low load, and so like 44.4 grains is where I'm going to try to shoot for. That's a safe load. It's well underneath max, and so usually you want to go at least, for you, Eric, being new, go 20% under and work your way up into a velocity range that's safe, okay? So take your scale, make sure it's on. I've turned this on a bunch of times. It just has a short term of, make sure this is 10 grains on it. Yep, it says 10 grams. So I will move it back to grains. And then you have a powder pan here. Set that on there, and it's going to give you a weight for that. You hit 0. And so now I'm actually just gonna, we're keeping it low budget here, guys. So this is a powder measure kit, and so it's made by Lee, and it's what I started out with. And so you find something that's like, well, what is 44 grains gonna look like? And so I'm just gonna try the 2.5 cc. You just scoop a bunch there, make sure you're not too crazy. Dump that in there, and that put me at 32.1. So I'm going to try the next one up, which is the 2.8 cc. $37.7. So let's try the next one up from that. So, you know, this isn't a big deal. Just, you know, this is just a real, you know, like, my brother's not going to be doing high volume shooting. He's a hunter. So, I mean, he's not trying to get a PRS rig going. 41.4, and we are going for 44.4. So maybe we try one more up from that. I don't know if that's going to put us over or not, but it's worth it. Worth a check. Make sure your scale zeroes out. If it doesn't, you know, zero it out. They might wander on you a little bit. So this one I haven't really used too much, so there might be a bit of static on it. 44.9. So let's see. That is still way under max. So we landed at that. So we're just going to use that. So we're just going to use this scooper here. If you're getting something with a lot of static, you can use a dryer sheet. Sorry, that was super loud. So that worked out to about 45. So that should be just fine. So there's that one. Move it over to the next. So load them all the same. You know. Let it settle. That one's a little bit over. Just a tiny bit over. So we're at 45.5. 45.3. So I just am using a little scooper here and scooping some of it out. 45.2. 45.1. 45. So take notes in your book. And I made a mistake. I didn't actually prime them. So that was genius. I'm so used to using my Dillon and everything's on it. So we're going to have to clean up maybe a little bit of a mess here. Let's see where we're at. So no big deal. Dump your powder back in. Tiny bit in there. Ain't no biggie. Anybody who's reloaded said they ain't never made a mistake before. They're lying to you. They never reloaded before, one or the other. So There's a couple there. There's a couple grains of powder sitting down in there. So make sure you got everything out of the ones. There you go. See? Ain't no thing. Ain't no thing. So, I have this really old Lee. Is that set up for large primers? Looks like it. And I even have the right shell holder in there. So I'll pick a large rifle primer that you like to use. These are some Federal 210 large rifle primers. Just do that. Shake, shake, shake. So they're all facing up like that. You can and then you just kind of angle it away from your face, because if you don't, that's seated perfectly. So you can see here, you got a seated primer. And so if you don't, let's say you had it pointed right at your face, and let's say a primer pops because of whatever reason, you don't want all that stuff to fly in your eyes. So that would be really unfortunate. Probably should wear safety glasses, honestly, with this setup. So I just run my thumb over them to that one's going in really hard. Let's see. Oh, we're good. And that's it. So let's go back to where we were, huh? Let's try powder again. Make sure you're I don't really like this scale. It has such a short time for off and on. Make sure it's set to grains. Make sure you zero the unit. We're a little low on this one, 44.4. So then we're just going to kind of tap it with our finger here, and we're just kind of hand trickling. 1.1 over. Take a little bit out. You want these scales to warm up for at least 30 minutes, but really it should be a couple hours. Don't breathe on it, because your breath will change the what your reading's going to be. So, on this scoop, I'm just doing kind of a full scoop there. That one says 44. So like I said, we're taking it to 45. I just kind of tip it, not quite on a 90. .45. So there's that one. And this is just a Hornady universal funnel. It works perfectly fine. Make sure your scale zeroes back out. I do notice this one from Hornady Wonders. I've had it a really long time. I don't actually use it that much because I'm progressively reloading now because of PRS. I'm just shooting such a high volume that I overdid it on that one. 45.6, so just take a little out, no biggie. And it just pretty easy. I just use my electric powder dispensers, and I'm dialing into that. But this is how I started doing it. 45, and I reloaded some pretty good ammo overall. Didn't have to be this fancy setup like you see so much that people use, and they're telling people, well, if you don't use, check to see if the scale was this, that, or the other thing, you're not going to be able to do it very good. Well, my argument is that not everybody can afford a $2,000, that's 44.7 setup. Some people are spending a few grand on their powder dispenser, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that stuff. It's just, what are you trying to accomplish with your reloads? Are you trying to shoot a deer at 100 yards? Well, you probably don't need to be to the thousandth of a grain to be able to accomplish that. So, and if you're only reloading 20 or 30 shells for your coyote hunt the night before, let's see. Then keep that in mind. So you just have to be real conscientious with this stuff because it's dangerous. You accidentally double charge a case or something, you might have something pretty catastrophic happen, like your gun blowing up or your face going with it would be really unfortunate. So just be mindful at 45. So there's that. So now we are on to seating bullets. So it will tell you the cartridge overall length that you're supposed to have. And so it'll tell you like case trim length, what rifle, barrel, twist rate, what they used, and stuff like that. And so that will give you an idea of where you're supposed to be on everything. And it's on the front page here where it says M1 Garand. So if you're loading regular 30-06 or whatever cartridge you're trying to accomplish, do it that way. So we're just going to load to 3.3 .40, so I haven't even opened these ones yet. So you take one of your bullets, kind of pre-stack them on your tray. So that's how they look there. Oh, you might not have been able to actually see, son of a gun, when I put powder in. So let's adjust and just show you. Yeah, son of a gun. Let's just take one of the bullets out. Let's dump the powder out. So you have your scale on. Okay. It's going to read grains, 0.0 grains. And I'm going to show you all this. This is just for reference. You're going to put your pan on. It's going to show like 77.9 grains. You're going to zero. You're going to take your, this is a Hornady funnel. It's a universal one. You take your scooper. You know, we're shooting for 45 grains. So then you dump it on your scale here. Kind of give it a second to settle for a minute. I'm at 45.2, so we're going to take we're just going to tap a little bit of powder from this small scoop in until we get 45. There's 45. Looks like maybe I did a little too much. Got some static built up here. Give it a second to settle. Looks like we still got 45. And that's how you do that. And then you just set your bullets on so like this. And you put your case. This guy almost doesn't fit. Then you start screwing it down. Run it up into the die. Then you start screwing it down until it touches. Okay. And then it will start seating the bullet there. Something's wrong. Let's spin this guy down a little. Too big. So this will allow your bullet to get seated. Now, I didn't chamfer and deburr these, but they should be. Yeah. So we're just going to check overall length. Oop, that was good. So don't forget to zero out your tool. So we're going to go to 3 point. So I went down a little bit too far. So we're just going to go to 3.340, which is like the max cartridge overall length. That should. Yep, 3.3. So that's all you had to do. This press is almost not big enough for 30-06. So I always say just check your work, check it often. Everything will be fine if you do all that. Okay, so loaded ammunition for an M1 Garand, so beginning to end. So before I seat bullets, like usually you're going to chamfer and deburr. So there's a couple different tools that look differently for that. What do in my jar? Oh, here's my jar. So you would take and you would go on the inside like so. That's, and then the outside like so. And it just kind of gives a, you know, a little chamfer in there. So bullet seat's really good. If you want good accuracy, you should be doing that. But I just wanted to go over with you on how here's a basic setup. This is what you're going to have at your house. This is all you need. And then we're going to have to show you how to trim at some point, but this is just an overview of how to load some ammo. See you later, buddy.